So now I'm going to sign in, and what I'm using right now too, just as an FYI for everybody, I am literally using the Oracle Cloud. So our lab environment is part of the Oracle Cloud. We do, for our clients and others, we do offer access to the Oracle Cloud, the latest and greatest tools release and everything else, so that if you want to fool around and play or whatever, we're more than happy to do that for you as well. So, you know, that's another thing, another service we provide for our clients. So just remember that I'm in the Oracle Cloud. So what I want to do is I'm literally going to go into a delivered non-OneView content application. So I'm going to go into customer service inquiry. I'm literally going to select now everything and anything, all my columns, and I'm simply going to say find. And what I want to do now, again, I need to have authority to do this, but I want to go up to OneView report and notice what I'll see. I'll see some personal reports. If there were others that people created, I would see them below. And I can either create a report or edit a report that I created. So right now, let's just go in and create a report. And when I do that, notice this panel on the right opens up, and it's very, similar. It's what I put into the presentation. And you'll notice it'll say, okay, you want the report definition. What do you want? And if you notice, just like your queries, when I went into the editor, notice that all my columns and fields have these plus signs. It's telling me what fields do I want to utilize when I create my report. Now, I can literally pick them one at a time if I want, or I can literally come up here and say, put them all in there and make them all available for me to use on my report. Again, this is what I told you have to be careful about. We have ours defaulted in the INI to be 500. You just have to check as an organization to see what's going on. And then these two buttons up here. You want me to use the column name, i.e. the English that I changed the alias to, or do you want me to use what the actual data dictionary alias is? Now, I'm going to show you later on a pre-built one from Oracle. Doing this is very cumbersome because you actually have to know what the alias is. But anyway, let's say this is what I want. I'm going to hit the save button, and I'm going to give this report a name. Naturally, you would call it what you want. And when I say OK, notice what's going to happen. It's going to go out and it's going to launch the editor. And what the editor says to me is, Tom, you can create your own layout if you want. You can take one of these templates that Oracle has already placed out there, or you can upload or generate a whole new RTF layout. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to take one that already exists. And when I do, it's going to load it. And when it loads, you're going to see that it's very intuitive. It's very easy to understand what it is we're doing and what we're looking at, okay? So right now we have the header of our report. I can come in here and it tells me, hey, double click if you want to add a title, okay? So I could come in here and say Tom's test report. I can turn around and I can say I want it to be bolded or not bolded. I can turn around in this one and I can give it a secondary explanation by double clicking in here and saying I want to insert a text item. So I could say sample report. And again, for this one, I could turn around and I could say, wait, I want the color maybe to be green or whatever. So you're getting the gist of what you can do up here, right? And I can center this if I wanted to center it on the report. I can enter date, time. I can click over here and enter a picture if I wanted to enter a picture, right? So I can say insert a picture, and then it's going to ask me, okay, where do you want to go look for the picture? And I'd have to go find one. Okay. So very easy with the header. Now, when we talk about the component areas that we talked about, you'll notice that I have two charts and I have a part for data. So if I click on one of these components, you see how it gets highlighted in a heavy blue box. That tells me now that I am working in this area. So what might I want this report to look like? For those of you that do pivot tables in Excel, this should be very, very intuitive to you. Maybe I want to see an order type as the series. And maybe what I want to do is I want to see the extended amount as the value. And maybe I want to see all of that across my order company. Okay? So now you can see that this is starting to get filled in as I start dropping things in there. Well, now I come down here and I want to create something here. So maybe this, I want to see my extended amount, but I want to see my extended amount as a function of my various sold to. So now you'll see that I'm going to be able to see all my sold tos and I'm going to see my extended amount. And now down here in this table area, if you will, notice it says just drag and drop. All right, so maybe I want to see my sold to number. Maybe I want to see my order type, or better yet, let's say my order number. And let's say I want to see order type after that. Maybe after that, I want to see my line number. So I can scroll down until I find where my line number is. And this is really the most difficult part of all this, is just trying to figure out where everything is. And notice if I start to run out of real estate, just like Excel, I can turn around and just highlight, scroll back, and get more real estate. So maybe I want to see now the quantity. We'll figure out where that is. And, you know, we don't have to do things in order because I'll show you what else we can do. Let's say I want to take my quantity. I want to see that, so I'll drop that here. Let's say I want to see my extended amount. I'll drop that here. And let's say I want to see what else? Let's say I want to see my next status. Put my next status there. And unit price, let's see, I want to see my extended cost. So we'll scroll down, and I would ask you to yell out if you see it, but I won't hear you. So I'll just scroll until I figure out where the extended cost is. And if I don't see it, we won't worry about it. All right, let's not worry about it. Let's leave it as is right now. So now if I wanted to see my next status before my quantity, I could just drag and drop my column and move my column over. And again, as I said before, we can shrink these things down. Now you'll notice, you know, the numbers, right? The way the numbers look. I can highlight this column and I could come up here and I could say, my data formatting, I want it to look like a number with X decimal points, right? I can turn around and say I want to see my quantity the same way, right? And if you notice, we have totals by the line number. I don't want a total. So I can come up here and I can say, no, I want blank text. The same thing with my order number. I don't want to see totals for my order number or totals for my sold to. I don't want to see either of those. So I can say, no, I want blank text. So when I'm done with all of this, what happens if I want to see it grouped? I want to see it grouped by sold to. I want to see it grouped by order and order type. And as a matter of fact, let me do this. Let me move my order type here instead. So what I can do now is if I highlight this area, I could say, wait a minute, I want to group by my sold to number. And within my grouping of sold to, I want to group by my order type. And I also want to group by my order number. Again, just making it prettier for me when I do this. So again, when I'm all said and done, I could come up here in the upper right, and there's this save icon, and it's going to ask me for a name of my report, and I'm simply going to say Tom. When I'm done saving this, you'll know, because up here you'll see the word saved. I can X out of this now, and when I come back to Enterprise One in my application, and if I look now under OneView Reports, here's my report. And if I execute my report by simply clicking on it, it's going to go out and it's going to launch interactively. And what I'm going to see, it's going to show me now that bar chart I had, which shows me by order type and order company my extended amounts. It's going to show me my pie chart, which is showing me by customer my information, and it's going to show me down below the detail, the data that makes up those pieces of information. So what am I going to be able to do? I'm going to be able to say, well, wait a minute, I only care about quotes. Let me just look at quotes. And if I clicked on SQ, it's going to show me that only this one customer has quotes, and then the detailed data is going to be what supports that. I could come back up and say, okay, forget it. Maybe I want to look at SOs. What do I have for SOs across the board? Now, when I do that, notice I have more customers. I can come back up here and say, well, wait a minute, let me look at this customer. And if I do that, you can see how the filtering is working and how my detail below is filtering. And if I wanted to, I can even build in a drill back capability where if I clicked on this order number, it would actually launch Enterprise One, the application, to show me the details of that order number. And again, if I want to see everything, I simply get rid of these and I can see everything. What happens if I come down here and I only want to see records where the next status is 560? Just like Excel, I can say only show me the data that's at a status of 560. And it'll go through and it'll refresh and it'll show me that data. So again, it's a very intuitive, very user-friendly tool for you to go ahead and do what you got to do. Now, what happens if I wanted to develop this and I wanted to run this, let's say as a PDF? I literally could come back in and say manage reports. I can click on Tom. It comes up and I can click on these icons below to generate it in a different form. So if I click on PDF, it'll go through, retrieve the data, but instead of being interactive, it'll now create a PDF document for me that I can save and mail and do whatever I want. Now, the one thing to remember with that is if I save it as something other than interactive, what's going to happen is it's going to show me all of the data that was on that report. So again, if I'm selecting hundreds and hundreds of records, the report can be quite voluminous. So let's look at one other thing. Let's get out of this. And again, let's just talk real quick before I do that. Let's just talk real quick about if I did want to change my report. I literally could click on Tom. Over here, I have this little icon that says edit. When I click on edit, it's going to turn around now and it's going to let me say edit and edit properties. It's going to load it up in BI Publisher like I saw before. And if I come down here and I say, well, wait a minute, in this section, I really wanted to add another piece of information. Maybe I wanted to to also put out there the requested date. I can drag that and I can drop that in, save it again, and then the report, when I run it the next time, it'll have the requested date as well. So again, that's how easy it is to create. That's how easy it is to adjust, to save. Now, last but not least, I like this report. I want to share it with Travis, I still have to go back into my report and I have to request to publish it. So what that means is I have to come in here and I have to say to my admin that I want this report to be published so that other people and other roles can use it. I want to show you the difference between a canned JD Edwards OneView report over a canned application versus one for pre-built content. Now, this is pre-built content, an open sales order inquiry OneView report. It's what Oracle created for OneView reports. So now if I come in here and I look at this commitment report, you're going to see that it's a lot more robust, and you could create this as well. You know, you have the ability to create it just as well as Oracle created it. But you're going to see that it has a lot more graphs. It has a lot more pieces of information in it and things of that nature. Let's copy this report, and I'll show you the difference of looking at the alias versus looking at the column name. So if I come in here and I say I want to clone this, and I want to clone this as Tom2 and say OK, the system will go out, we'll give it a second to create the report and save it. But when I go back in now and look at OneView, I should see a report now that's mine that says Tom2. And if I go to manage that report Tom2 and I go to edit it just like the one before, several things. Notice first that I'm going to have hundreds of columns now versus just the X number I had before. But when I look at the column names, look at the names. They're the alias from the data dictionary. So again, that's the difference between the two, and that's how you have to understand that, and that's what you have to be careful about. So let's do this. Let's finish up, and let me show you a few more things through the PowerPoint that I'd like to talk to before we get into questions and answers. If you want to go and you want to find the pre-built content and what Oracle provides, you can go to learnjde.com, www.learnjde.com. In the search box, type OneView reporting documentation and select that. When you're done, you'll see a list of either solution overviews or tutorials. Select the one that says OneView Reporting User Guide Cross Applications. And if you select that, you'll be brought into a list of all of the modules that Oracle has. And what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to scroll down and not only see the tables that were joined and the new business views and new applications that they created, but you'll also see an actual sample of the report that they have out there for you to use. So again, we can very easily together go out and show you that if we go to www.learnjde.com, we'll be able to search on OneView reporting documentation. As I said, when this list comes up, we want to take the one that says cross applications. And if those of you that are in finance, you wanted to see OneView reporting for financial, when you click on that, it will literally now show you all of the custom applications that were created. And as you scroll through the document, you'll actually see for each one of those applications and views, you'll actually see what the report would look like, so you can determine within your organization if purchasing that pre-built content makes sense for your organization or not.